You're listening to The Rough Draft, a not-so-average personal development podcast for purpose-driven women ready to rewrite their story. It's a show about evolution, changing narratives, and rewriting our life's rough drafts. I interview some of the world's top female leaders in business, energetics, love, relationships, money, and personal power about their humble beginnings and shifts that got them here. I'm your host, Sabrina Greer, writer, speaker, book publisher, serial entrepreneur, and mentor to women in life and business. Let's rewrite. And welcome back to the Rough Draft podcast. I am beyond excited for my guest today because her book is available today on Amazon. And I'm going to just jump right in and introduce you. Jacqueline Shaw. In a world of spiritual teachers, Jacqueline Shaw stands apart as a powerful voice for women who are ready to reclaim who they are as divine beings. When Jacqueline speaks, women listen. Her conviction commands attention. Her wisdom resonates at a soul level. Her trust in self and trust in God is undeniably felt. Through her words, her embodied teachings, and lived wisdom, women tap into the divine remembrance of who they are. They feel the resonance of truth deep in their souls, and it becomes the catalyst for their own personal transformation. In Jacqueline's world, it's not about becoming, but returning to your divine nature and sacred wisdom that lives within you. Truth burns as her eternal flame, and faith resonates as her unwavering frequency. Through profound yet simple soul transmissions, she extends an irresistible invitation to women everywhere. Recognize that you indeed are the source of wisdom you've been seeking. Oh, it's like poetry, even just like reading your bio. I love it. It's so beautiful. And I'm so excited to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. I mean, this day has been literal years in the making. And even hearing you read my bio back to me, it just further lands for me, like solidifies as we enter this conversation. My work, my writing, my speaking, like my mentorship, everything I do is really rooted in the guidance back to self, remembering who you are as a divine being, as the creator, as the one, because I really desire for women. I mostly lead women and men, but as I mostly lead women, I'll use the word woman a lot, but desiring for women to stop searching outside themselves, for stop looking for the answer out there, for stop outsourcing our wisdom, our power, and go deeper within ourselves because it all already exists within you. And it's going deep in and then having the bravery, the courage, the boldness to stand in conviction of who we are and to own who we are and to speak our truth and to come into this place of unwavering conviction because I know becomes the frequency that you anchor in and lead with.
So powerful. Honestly, your words just like roll off the tongue like potions and spells, and it's so magical and so powerful. And the book is no different. And I had the absolute privilege of sitting in on you for 3 days recording the audiobook for this. And wow, I feel like I'm part of the story. Like, it's so powerful, but to be able to be present on that level with this journey of yours. So I'd love for you to share with our listeners a little bit about the book itself, the premise, why you wrote it, and
Yeah,
why we're here
well,
today.
I'd love to. And before I get there, I do feel just called to share this one thing in reflection to what you just shared there. But like the words just seem to roll out of my mouth like poetry. This is part of the journey that I really stepped into throughout this experience that I call my spiritual SmackDown, which is the title of the book. Before that, I did really waver in my voice. I did waver in my truth because I wasn't connected to that source of wisdom, the divine within me, the God within me. It took me 8 years to write this book, 9 years to have it published because I didn't own my voice. I didn't own that I am a writer, I am a speaker. And so I kept questioning. So, this journey that I'm bringing you into and sharing about the book, this was a deeply personal journey. The book, A Spiritual SmackDown from Victim to Goddess, is a spiritual memoir. I lead through lived wisdom, I lead through embodied wisdom. And there was a moment, well, it's 9 years ago now, there was this in the book, it says 8 years ago. It was 8 years ago when the book was written, but this moment where I knew this book was going to be written. And it was just like an energy that moved through me, God speaking through me, Source speaking through me. And it was that this wisdom that you're tapping into, this journey that's about forgiveness and surrender and choosing and finding faith and trust, it's for you and it's also for you to share. I absolutely believe that our work as women coming together, sharing stories is our holy work. And stories that may feel hard to voice, stories that bring up feelings of shame. I mean, how many times when we were recording the audiobook, Sabrina, did I say, like, I'm kind of getting sick of this myself. Like the moments where I was like in the frequency, well, the subtitle is From Victim to Goddess, where I was like in that rise, where I was tapped into the divine remembrance of who I was, am, and was tuning into that goddess frequency. And then that humanness that takes over, that wants to control, that wants to manipulate, that wants things to be a different way. And so there's moments, and you'll read it in this book. I take you into the depth of my journey. One thing I do not do in this book is hold back. I take you into the depth of the journey through my story, through my lived experience, and then I pair it with divine wisdom. And as I was writing this book, I had a very clear vision of what I wanted it to be. And it came out, and with the work that we've done together too, Sabrina, like I will say, it feels like a masterpiece in the sense of this divine dance and flow between the experience, the story, my spiritual SmackDown, which means like where I had my spiritual awakening after I ignored God, the universe, spirit for so long. And then it really zooms out into what I've learned and remembered and embodied since this experience in my life that was 9 years ago.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me that, people see this book and they think, oh, she published a book. She wrote a book just like that. They don't see the work that goes on behind the scenes, and not just the physical work, the stuff that goes in the editing and the re-editing and the editing again. How many times do we edit this thing? Like it's crazy.
I
But
mean, that in itself is a bit crazy because I will tell
crazy.
everyone who's here and aspiring to write a book too, I thought when the book was written, I was like, okay, like I'm done.
Done.
And then I realized that this book, it is my sacred offering to the world. And so I cared deeply about everything. I cared about the cover, the interior design, the placement of the quotes that are inside, the font size. I cared where the periods went and if there was a space that I wanted to look different. Like this book is a devotion.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's such an important thing to recognize when listeners are picking this book up, that it is a masterpiece and it's a co-creation. And we didn't, a lot of editors, I've worked in publishing for 12 years, and I've worked with different styles of publishers and different types of editors and different types of authors. And one thing that seems to be common across the board is that a lot of authors don't have access to their creative control in this process. They get red penned. We all hear about the red pen, right? Red penned, their voice gets stripped, the story gets taken out. And I know you've had a little bit of experience with this, knowing the background of your story, but it's so important to know that the book that you're holding in your hands, or will be holding in your hands once you buy it today, is a true masterpiece and a true co-creation. And it is Jacqueline's heart and soul on paper in physical form. And it came out exactly how she wanted it to come out. And
Yeah.
I think
And
that's really important.
yeah, and that was really important to me. And not that we need to get into the whole journey of my journey of after the writing and getting the book to the publishing stage, and then just the beauty of being introduced to you. But right around this time, I was also meeting with a traditional publisher, and she asked me, she said, "Are you," because I think she felt this sense within me too, that like the way in which this book came out was like so deeply important. Like she could feel I didn't want to be red pen, and she said, "Are you okay with that? Like, are you okay if we choose to publish your book? Like, us taking it and deciding like this chapter gets axed and this one gets moved and this sentence, gets rewritten." And I was like, absolutely not. And I was like, I know this is probably not what what you're supposed to say, but I was like, I'm absolutely not. And so in that moment, I knew that there was like no way that I was going to go down a traditional publishing route with having this memoir brought to the world, because I was not willing to compromise my voice in any aspect of it, even like the design. And so then finding you and being introduced to your work and blended publishing, I was like, I mean, it was a prayer answered, that it was everything that you do to bring this book to the world, and me being able to be such a part of it was extraordinary.
Yeah. Well, and that I love that. I love that you said that because it's truly my mission, my movement. What I'm here to do is bring voices, but real voices that have been silenced in some way, that have been told their stories are too much or not enough or too big or too small, or this feeling of, I have something I have to say. I have something to tell the world. There is wisdom in my words. There is, stories that can bring wisdom to people, to readers, to the world. It's impact. It's the ripple effect. And, that doesn't happen when you silence people. It doesn't happen
Yeah.
when you red pen a story. It takes the power out of it, in my opinion. So I'm so glad that we were able to bring this to life
Yeah.
in this
And I
way.
mean, you know this, and I'll share here, like I absolutely stand for women owning their voices and not being silenced and not feeling like too much, too little. I mean, in my case, I was literally told this book is too shameful to be written in print for the world to read. And that honestly fueled my movement. Like that fueled the desire to have it written and published exactly as I wrote it, because I'm just not willing. And I'm not willing to live in a world and stand for a world where my voice gets silenced or diluted or shifted or changed, just like I'm not willing to stand for that for my clients, to stand for that for you. And so I do include pieces of this story of how I was encouraged to rip out parts of the book and to silence myself because of the shame that it's going to bring upon me. And I've already been told how shameful this is and that I'm all of the things and a disgrace to womanhood. And I don't believe that to be true about me. I don't believe that to be true about anyone listening, that there's anything too shameful. It's all part of my experience and my journey as a human and as a soul. And so I've got to trust in the fact that I felt called to write this. And it was such a deep calling at the time, where I was like, I'm not an author. I am not a speaker. I don't know how to write.
Yeah.
I did it for the women who I know will be healed through these words, who will find the resonance of truth in my words, whether we have similar life experiences or not, through each part, through each section, through each chapter. There's moments where you'll be like, wow, like I'm right there with her. And I've felt these feelings before, and I've had these thoughts before, and I've questioned this before, and I've wondered this, and I've thought about stepping back and silencing. And that, do you know what I mean? It's like gonna be this dance. And I've had a few people that have read the book already, and this is what everyone's, shared with me. The depth that I go into in the story that allows people to feel like they're right there. You're laughing with me, you're crying with me. But again, even though it's a memoir, it doesn't feel like it's about me. It's a memoir, it's my story. It doesn't feel like it's about me, because it will bring up for yourself things that you get to look at and sit with and contemplate in your own journey.
Yeah. It's a sacred invitation to step into your own story. I truly believe that. I feel when we have the courage to share our stories, our real stories, not the diluted version, not the red pen version, not the dulled down version, but the real true truth, the real truth, that gives other people permission to step into their own stories and really stop seeing them as a burden, stop seeing them as something that's blocking them from growth, but seeing it as the fire that is burning, but
Abs-
not to hurt them, not to burn them, but to ignite this depth inside of them so that they can share their story too.
Yeah, and I feel like I can't stand for truth and say I'm a truth teller and stand for women who are here to be the truth of who they are and not be the truth of who I am. And it started here, like in this book. And I actually went through a process when it was done, when it was written, I was like so incredibly proud of it. I was like, this is it. I didn't even want it edited in the beginning because I was just like, this is it. And then when I had this experience and told it was too shameful and all of these things, I actually did go through the book and I just out of curiosity, even though I knew I wasn't really gonna go forward with publishing it in that way, I was like, what would it look like if I took out some of these parts of the book, took out some of the story that, doesn't shine me in the prettiest of light, that does feel, the deeper parts, the shameful parts. And I pulled out each part and was like, what will it feel like? And then I added a part back in, and then I added another part back in, and slowly but surely I added all the parts back in because for me, the depth of the wisdom is there because the depth of the story is there. And so each part that I toyed with taking out, I put back in because again, the truth is what matters to me, the depth is what matters to me. And like I said before, this is our holy work as women, as leaders, as guides to share all of it in service not only of ourselves, but each other and the collective.
Yeah. And it's called Spiritual SmackDown because that is what you refer to the moment, which I won't give away here because you have to go get your copy of the book and read it for yourself. But the subtitle, From Victim to Goddess, that is truly the essence of this journey that you go on. And I think it's important to speak about because there is so many of us either have villains in our lives, people who we think it's their fault, or, and that makes us the victim if there's a villain. But this goddess energy, this goddess frequency, can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think shame is so ingrained in everything, and we fear speaking up, we fear telling our truth, and we fear bringing our stories to life, especially in this very public way of publishing a book. Can you share a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Yeah, so for me, the goddess energy, I think different people have different feels and essence and sense of the word goddess. And for me, the goddess energy isn't this like, just soft, like floating around, receiving goddess energy. A goddess energy for me is powerful, is standing in conviction, is knowing who we are, is connected to the God within us. And so this journey for me and this tagline from victim to goddess is looking at the journey of when I wasn't operating in the true my truest self of who I am, those moments where, self-righteousness would creep in, those moments where I so desperately wanted to be right, where I wanted to be vindicated, where there was this energy. And it's like that shift was in the experiences of forgiveness, releasing judgment, the surrender, the faith. That is what allowed me to step into the goddess frequency. And the goddess frequency for me is about knowing who I am as a divine being, as a creator, as the one, and not letting the distortions of the human world take me out of the divinity that I am.
Yeah, love that. It's so powerful. And it's so true because I speak to women a lot, Femme Power publications. A lot of the women I speak to that have a story to tell are women, and they feel this way. And I read a lot of rough drafts, a lot of first drafts where they fear that the story is too shameful or it's not right to bring to life because of that feeling inside of them. So I know that you do different activations to release shame, to find forgiveness. Can you talk a little bit about the work that you do outside of writing books now as an
Yeah.
author?
Yeah. I mean, this piece right here is really, I mean, this has been such a divine piece of my work is these activations that I lead women in to, yes, to release things that we are holding on to in the subconscious that's no longer serving us. And so releasing the shame, releasing the guilt, releasing the self-judgment, releasing the stories that we're holding on to, that coding that we've taken because of past experiences, past evidence. And so these activations act as a powerful portal to release energy, but then also to activate you in a new frequency. And the activations are all about shifting beyond. At the mind, we can shift certain things. And this takes it beyond mindset work because our mind, while it's beautiful in so many ways, mindset work is still limited because our mind can only conceive and, source wisdom from what's already known, whether it's what we know or somebody else knows. Like mindset work, it's like there's something here that we get to shift through by doing this and this and this. Whereas the activations are frequency work. And so we shift at a cellular level, we recode at a cellular level. And so this is a part of my work that I absolutely love. I've actually created an activation album that pairs with the book so that the concepts in the book, as you're following along the journey, you can also tune into these activations to release, to activate, to shift frequencies as you go through the book, as you read the book, whether you do it at the same time as the book or whether you do it after the book. That's something that's available that I'm really excited about. And my mentorship, writing, speaking, mentoring, no matter what I'm doing, what platform it is, again, it's all about you. It's all about you attuning to the sacred wisdom within you and clearing the pathways, clearing out the distortions. So transcending things like that are limiting you in your energy field. So transcending fear, transcending the illusion of need, transcending requirement, transcending judgment, which opens you up to access the realm of infinite possibility, infinite potentiality, where you begin to create and co-create with God, with the essence of the God within you. And when I say you begin to, I mean you already are, but you become aware that you are. And then you start to recognize, okay, am I operating from a human that's limited in what she sees and is experienced and knowing? Or can I drop into the truth of who I am and lead from my soul, move from my soul, decide from my soul? And so all of my work is a journey into the remembrance of who you are and then standing in your power, amplifying from that frequency. So we amplify your power, we amplify your voice, we amplify, again, that divine knowing and trust and faith, which, I mean, I do lead a lot of female entrepreneurs. And so as you go through this reclaiming of who you are, it's going to shift everything you do in the world as well.
Yeah, I love that. And we'll link the frequency, what do you call them?
The activations.
Activations. Well, like, you have a playlist of activations. So we'll link that in the show notes as well. So people can get their hands on that because I highly recommend it. This work goes so much deeper, but the book is a powerful introduction into this work with a powerful story that just happens to be your story. Is there anything you want to leave our readers with, our listeners with today before they get a copy of your book? Anything you want to say to the world?
I just was having this vision of myself. I am someone who was very closed off emotionally, spiritually before my spiritual SmackDown. And I had dabbled, I had like toyed in and out throughout my life, but I was pretty blocked off. And the vision that I just had is like I am now the person who will like be on an airplane crying because like I read a piece in a book and it's like and it touches my soul so deeply. And this is really, I mean, this book will touch your soul in ways that you can't even imagine. It's going to activate divine remembrance within you, a knowing within you. This is not a book that's about gentle spirituality. It is like deep divine remembrance, sacred wisdom. And no matter where you're at in your journey of, accessing the wisdom within you, your journey in your own spiritual awakening, the remembrance of your divinity, I know that this book will serve you because I take you through the depth of the journey when I had forgotten who I was to the deep remembrance and absolute conviction of my knowing of not just who I am, but who we all are.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So powerful. Get your book today on Amazon. I'm going to hold it up. This is still my book from our audio book recording with all the fun edits.
All the edits, we told you those edits were important. There was like no
Very.
detail that we didn't
It was,
hit.
yes, we went through everything, every word, every period, every page, every line, everything. So it's an absolute masterpiece. It's such an honor to support you in bringing this work, this masterpiece into the world. And I cannot wait for all of our listeners and readers to get their hands on it. So get your copy today on Amazon. I will put the links in the show notes. Jack, where else can people find you? And I'll link everything as well.
Yes, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram, Jacqueline_Shaw_. That's my most active social media place. My podcast is the Jacqueline Shaw Show. Those would be the two main places, absolutely. And I just want to say, Sabrina, like, thank you so much to you, to your team. Like, this has been such an extraordinary experience for me. Thank you to those of you who are listening. Thank you to those who are going to go buy this book and get your hands on this book. This feels like just the beginning of our journey, the beginning of your journey at this point in time. Thank you to, gosh, the advanced readers who just gave us such incredible, feedback and testimonials from this book as well. Like I feel like I'm so grateful. I'm such an honor to be the conduit for this work and the voice for this work. And, I often say, of course, this is an experience in my life that it's not was not the most pleasant experience. I mean, it was the smackdown in my life that, the moment in the ashes. And yet, I'm actually so grateful for this moment of my life because this moment and this experience is what transformed me into the woman that I am today. And so I really can't wish it away because I know that it's so beyond that experience and it's so beyond me even. And so it really is an honor to share these words in this book and my voice and my truth with you.
So beautiful. Well, thank you again for being here. And thank you all for tuning in. Until next time.